And a jolly good morning to you from a beautiful summer's day, just post heatwave here in North Hertfordshire, more specifically between the villages of Holwell down that way and Pirton in that direction. And today I'm going to take a circular walk of approximately 6.5 to 7 miles from this location. Now, if you come here by car, you could indeed park in the village of Pirton, up by one of the pubs, or Holwell down that way. Probably Pirton would be certainly nearer. The walk is actually going to come back via that route, and as a result of that, a good place to end if you don't turn it into a complete circular. Set your walk off from up there. So it was perfectly quiet here with nobody around when I started doing this, and then all of a sudden cars and people come from all directions, which is quite typical. Right, hopefully that's quieting down a little bit. I'm going to head off in that general direction down there towards Lower Stondon, but it's going to be a circular walk via Meppershall Shillington, which is kind of over in that direction, back to Pirton. I won't walk all the way back down here because I am actually parked up in the village there. This particular starting point on the main road where the footpath and bridleway starts is not ideal for parking, particularly as there's signs asking you not to. It's the entrance to a farm. So let's go. As I say, it's about 6.5, probably 7 miles when I've added my general rambling on, and let's go and see what we see this morning. Absolutely beautiful day. As you can see, the ground is quite brown, although that is of course a wheat field, so it would be at this time of year due to the lack of rain recently. But let's head off once the cars have all... This is quite a busy road actually, so if you are coming down here, be quite careful with young children and so on. It's quite a flat walk this. I have done this walk once before. Cannot quite remember if I posted it to the channel. If I did, it was a long time ago. While I don't expect a lot has changed, it was probably at a different time of year. Some of these slightly less used footpaths do get quite overgrown at times. I'm not sure if this is going to be one of those, but hopefully due to the lack of rain recently, it won't be too bad today. This has certainly been cut back along here, but once you get right out of the away from the roads, it might not be quite so. There's quite a few horses for the kids to look at as you walk down here usually. There's one over there, nice white one, lovely. That's about it today, but there's usually some more. This walk's not going to quite take me to the centre of the village of Lower Stondon, or indeed the centre of the village of Meppershall. But indeed you could use this walk to go to those two places, either of them or both of them, turn round and go back, rather than continue in a circular fashion. Kind of all along over there until you come to Shillington. There's Pirton over in the distance, just nestling under the hills there, and Shillington's kind of over there. Normally can't quite see it from here because I'm on quite low ground, but you can usually see the very large church of Shillington towering above the landscape. I'll say very large church. It's very large for a small village, I guess. It's not exactly York Minster, but it's a pretty big church, and interesting to have a look around the village if you have time when you get there. Very, very, very hot recently with not much breeze. Today's dropped about 8 to 10 degrees with a slightly cooling breeze, so it's absolutely lovely for walking. Temperature now is about 22 Celsius, going up to I think about 26, 27 later on. It's been in the 30s, which can make walks like this a bit of a slog unless you're used to it. I think the wheat fields look absolutely lovely at this time of year. Golden fields. I do find some of this walk can be not always entirely clear which direction you should be going in. There are some signs, but some of them have disappeared into the hedges, like over there's a post there, so you could find yourself heading up that way, which I don't think leads to anywhere in the end. There's a sign hopefully pointing you in the right direction, hidden in the bushes there. Very high pollen day today, so please excuse me if I let a sniff or sneeze appear on here. I know that never comes across great on a video. I'm actually using an app called Go Jauntily to, partly because I've got a limited amount of time today. So I wanted to do a walk that was around about 6.5, 7 miles. That take a couple of hours, 2 to 2.5 hours at the most. And so that's why I'll be sticking to that walk. But using an app like that will help you in situations where the signage is maybe not as clear as it could be. And again, you know, that was another situation where you, in theory, could have ended up walking off down that way, whereas the app clearly shows I'm carrying on in this sort of northerly direction, if you like, for a little way yet, until we sort of bearing to the left in the westerly direction. Fairly soon, actually. Beautiful morning, absolutely. This is a fabulous walk. I've done it a few times, various times of the year. If you just want a bit of peace and tranquility, not to be mowed over by push bikes or just general, you know, others around. This is a very good walk if you want a bit of peace and quiet. Which is not for everybody all the time, obviously, or me for that matter, but certainly sometimes it's nice just to... I'm just going to have to slightly consult the Go Jauntily app because I've got a choice of 2 directions here and I'm not sure which one. I'm sort of hoping I carry on going actually, because that looks a tad overgrown down that way. I thought it might be down here. This is sometimes the problem. I can see people have been down here fairly recently and trodden down. It's the nettles really that are obviously at this time of year. If you're wearing shorts, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be actually. A little bit overgrown with nettles, but luckily for me, someone has been here recently and trodden those down. Yeah, I can't remember that. If you carry on going in a straight line, you will actually come to the village of Lower Stondon. So I recommend a good walking app such as Go Jauntly. I say that's the one I tend to use, and but I believe there are plenty of others out there, but that's served me well in the past, so I'll stick with that one. Hope it's not too windy. I haven't got a special mic on today. Nice cool breeze though at the moment, which is very welcome indeed. Interested in such matters. You obviously can't tell this on the video, but just on a very slight rising gradient here, I can see it quite clearly, but just coming to the top of it about 20 metres in front of me, and then it starts to dip back down again. On the map I'm using, that shows a contour line at this point of 50 metres above sea level. 50 metres elevation above sea level at this very point I'm stood now. Just to give you an idea, this is certainly by no means a hilly walk. Staying in this kind of flat plain between the hills to my right and the hills to my left, and I know we're not talking the Himalayas here, or indeed even the Peak District or Lake District. We're talking the Chiltern Hills, or the far eastern end of them, but they are still beautiful to go and walk up into over there. If you look on my channel, there's plenty of videos walking up over the hills, quite often referred to as Pegston Hills, Barton Hills, Deacon Hill, and so on and so forth, which are all over in that direction. I walk over there quite frequently. If you like these sorts of videos, click the like button and subscribe. Doesn't cost anything for that. That'll help YouTube send you some more. And if you don't like the video, click the dislike button twice. Thank you. If you know, you know. Again, where the app comes into its own, it does clearly show that you can walk across this field up the defined footpath that's been created by the farmer or maintained by the farmer. You might be forgiven for thinking that you shouldn't really wander across there. The app's saying I can, and indeed there is actually a sign confirming that just there, albeit it's rather hidden. However, on this particular circumstance, I'm going to be going up there, taking a left and then another left, and then joining this road kind of over there somewhere. So it wouldn't be the end of the world if you didn't go up this way, or if it was a bit of a wet day and a kind of muddy across here. But there's nothing quite like walking through wheat fields on a beautiful summer's day like this. And you can see the lack of rain that there's been recently is showing up with the massive cracked caverns below my feet. I imagine this gets quite boggy at times in the winter time, so the other route would be probably better in circumstances like that, but today absolutely fabulous across here. Actually see somebody else on this walk over there. Looks like possibly they've got their dog with them. Not quite sure what they're must be a dog's lead behind them there. But as I say, it's very rare to see anyone at all out on this particular walk. Sorry about that. Right, let's carry on. It's so easy to just stop and look for a long time. Beautiful places like this. No doubt about which direction should be going in here. There is a, ironically, a very clear sign to tell you that. Lovely view over to the Pirton there. You can just see Pirton Church nestling in the village, and the hills over towards Pegston. And can we see the church at Shillington from here? No, I don't think I can. No. It'll be easy to carry on going here as well, although it's quite clear that the edge of the field's been cut back a lot less beyond this point, and cut back more in this direction. There's no sign again, so as I say, for some of these walks, local knowledge or an app would serve you better. Now, when we get up to the top here, we'll be onto Shillington Road, and there'll be a bit of walking along the road, and some parts of it where you won't walk along the road or won't need to walk along the road. But obviously bear that in mind if you come in with children. It's not the busiest road in the world, but it does have cars coming along it, obviously. And as I say, won't quite get to the village of Lower Stondon, which is over in that direction. If you took a right turn at the Shillington Road, that's where you'd end up. Taking a walk across that field in the distance, circled round by that tree line, and up here, if we'd stayed on the gravel footpath, which is possibly a wise idea on a very wet or windy time, or wet time of year when it's very muddy, I'll be inclined to stick to this nice gravel path. But it's perfect today. There's a great view of the water tower. A lovely view from up there. It doesn't seem like it's much higher than here, but it is when you get to it. And don't forget, if you're from a foreign part, walk on the right hand side of the road, so you're facing oncoming traffic. I guess at certain times of the year you'd be able to walk on the verge here, although they do tend to be quite uneven and probably not great today. You get lots of little drainage ditches there which can easily fall down. Yeah, I remember taking this route once before. There's a public footpath off to the right. Now, I'm kind of assuming that it continues on in a straight line towards Meppershall, but there is also a left turn along here where you basically follow this road. You come out down there somewhere. If you're a bit short of time, you might want to just continue along the road, because this probably doubles the length of time going this way, as I recall it, at least anyway. There we go. I was trying to not stop filming just for a sec. Yeah, pretty sure I take a bare left at the top here and then eventually come back onto the road along there somewhere. But I think, as I recall, there is an option to carry on to Meppershall, which might be a nice walk from where we started this walk to Meppershall and then back again, rather than a circular. Maybe have to try that soon. See if I can navigate this gate. A bit overgrown in this section, as you can see. Not quite so many. Oh, there you go. Stung on the car. Not the first time, and certainly won't be the last. So I'm definitely taking a turn over to the left here, over there. I'm not certain if there is a straight on option here or not. Might well be through this gate here. Interesting. So long since I've been this way, and I'm wondering to myself why. Because it's a lovely, lovely walk out here. Right, just going to check the Go Jauntly app, see if it shows a route. In fact, it does. Definitely you can take this route. I'm going to be turning around any second and going back. So yeah, this will take you to Meppershall. I don't know as this sign will tell you that as such, but it gives you the three options. Where I've just come from, Meppershall, and then back out to the road, heading towards Shillington, which is the route I'm taking today. So that's answered that question. Interesting, the post is all the way up there. There's the church of Shillington, commanding a high spot in the village. So you can see that from quite some distance usually. I missed it, or the farmers not put the defined path through the field, but there should be a walkway across the field where you come out onto the road along there. But I'm going this way. There was no signs to suggest that, so but of course the way whoever uploaded this walk into Go Jauntly, whoever did that, the way they did it may have cut off this corner, so to speak. That sometimes happens, because I didn't see any walkway across there. Farmers are usually pretty good at keeping those walkways clear. It's in their interest at the end of the day, isn't it, to have everybody walking on the defined footpaths rather than just ambling about all over their crops and fields and so on. If you're going to have people walking on your land, you might as well work with it rather than against it, and that tends to be what happens. Oh, great place for kindling here. If you have a wood burner, get your fire going. I've a feeling there wasn't a cut across there, or if there was, there isn't anymore. I'll say that the option doesn't include going that way, although you could do. There's a ditch there to navigate. I'm going to stay on this side of the fence and away from the road and walk along here. And at some point down here, there should be a gap to get through back onto the road. So here's the access back onto the road. And there is indeed a defined walkway maintained by the farmer straight across there. So I managed to miss that completely, but that is the route that the Go Jauntly app was sending me, straight across the field. So anyway, another good view there of the Meppershall Water Tower, I think it's called that. This footpath, if you continue in that other direction, will take you to, see there's a public footpath sign there, which rather indicates there should be a method of getting back to the road, or from the road to here. I'm not entirely sure. Farmer's done his bit. It's probably supposedly through here, so I'm going to have to carry on a little bit until the brambles are out the way and get my way across somewhere along here. I seem to remember this being the case before. Little bits of it are starting to come back to me, and I think I had to jump across the ditch, which obviously is not ideal. So I'm not quite sure where I'm going to do that. Hopefully somewhere along here will be possible. Otherwise I'll be walking back to that gate and climbing over that. Farmer's done his bit. Looks like the whoever's in charge of marking out footpaths on the local authority level have failed to do theirs, which doesn't really surprise me in some respects, but I suppose if no one's reported it, that could also be the case. Well, now I'm seeing another sign saying public footpath in this direction, so I don't know. Looks like I can get out here anyway. Slightly confusing, but not to worry. It's what makes walks interesting sometimes. Discovering little bits and pieces you didn't know existed. The farmer's quite sure he doesn't want randoms coming down his farm track. Not only is there a gate, there is a heck of a lot of concrete there as well. You're not sneaking in here anytime soon. Right, so we're back on that same road now. Let's navigate these nettles. There we go. And we join this road just up there, perhaps about half a mile. Just kind of entering Shillington now. I'm not going to go straight into the centre of the village, but it is also an option. Some pubs there, a shop, one or two other things. There is another alternative walk back to the start of this, which will add a few more miles onto the walk. I have neither got the time or energy today to be doing that, but I certainly shall take that walk in the not too distant future, I'm sure. This going to take a cut across this is called Marquis Hill. I know it's not much of a hill in reality, or indeed on the camera, but it's got its own name anyway. And I'm going to take a left turn up here somewhere, which will start another walk across the fields back towards the village of Pirton, where I'm going to take a break before I head back to the starting point of this walk, halfway between Pirton and Holwell. And contour line's telling me we're at 75 metres above sea level now, and this is where we take a walk off the road again, and won't really, well, or not have to walk down the road again now until arriving back in the village of Pirton. But from here you do get an absolutely fabulous view of Shillington and its church. The wind does whip through this little valley. It is a little valley, but yeah, it does funnel the wind through, as you can probably tell on the camera. It's a nice cool day today. Drop down from 75 metres to 50. I know for those of you that live in hilly areas and mountainous places this must sound ridiculous, but Britain is a very gentle country, and even the harshest of environments are nothing compared to some parts of the world. And so a little hill, but it's quite a flat part of the UK, southern half of the UK, but it does have a few hills and downs and so on, and always nice to walk up and down a few of them. and with relative ease, of course. I've just seen a lady walking a dog. She's just gone past me. Somebody else coming now. I think there is kind of a Shillington circular walk you can do, which would incorporate this bit of footpath. I'm going to be turning off that and heading back over in that kind of direction shortly. So you probably would see a fair few people walking their dogs around here. There's a nice little walk. Right, so here's where I divert off the circular route from Shillington. This is where most of the Shillingtonians, if that's what they're called, come from. In fact, there's one heading down there now. That takes you back to the village. Nice little walk. I'm heading back up this way towards the village of Pirton. Yeah, you could, on this walk I've just done now, or I'm doing now, continue through the village there, take a right there, back through the village, carry on out the other side, and well, you'd have to check it up on a map. It's hard to describe just from here, but there's another walk back to Pirton, which is way over there, where you walk along the bottom of the hill, parallel to the main country road between Shillington and Pirton, on the other side of it from here. That's a nice walk as well. Would add a few miles onto this particular walk, which is 6 miles, 6.5 miles roughly. I would say if you did that, you'll be looking nearer to 9 as a total, and at least 3 hours, possibly 4, dependent on how slow you are. But should be fairly quiet back in this general direction again. So you're coming into a big dead end here. But again, this is where the app comes to the rescue, just to confirm you can carry on across the field that way. A distinct lack of signage. But to be fair, the track has been cut down in a way that shows you can walk down it. Got the wind behind me now. Hopefully it doesn't sound so blowy on the microphone. I've just checked whether the walk is indeed across that field. Looks like it is, doesn't it? Like, it's very wibbly wobbly and like almost produced just by footsteps rather than farmers tend to do them in a straight line. Just got a double check it. Yeah, this is the official walkway across this field. As I say, normally the farmers keep the official walkways or public footpaths a bit wider than this as a rule, with the kind of a mowed down or killed off section in a straight line. This is a windy little path through the wheat, but that's fine. That's fine. But again, the app just confirmed that. The feeling maybe the farmers forgot to do it here, and this is just the result of people ambling their way across over time. It's just created a sort of a little footpath, and it's just been left a bit like that. Interesting. But yeah, I can see directly ahead of me. Probably won't come out on the camera. Let's have a look. Ooh, there we go, if I can keep it still enough. The church at Pirton. So, little way to go yet. I'd say about 2 more miles and we'll be back. There's the church on the hill in Shillington. And go over a little bridge here if memory serves me correctly. Ground is so dry. You'd be almost twist your ankle in those if you're not careful. There you go, interesting sign there. You do see those occasionally. The path beyond this point is not a public right-of-way, but the owner allows the public to use it for the time being. Oh, for the time being. Interesting. So, if you were going to walk straight from the village of Pirton over there to Shillington, the centre of Shillington, you would carry on down that way and you would come out more in the centre of the village than where I turned off. Hertfordshire Council seem to think this is a public right-of-way with their little arrows there, but perhaps not. Wow, it's getting, the wind is getting up now. Sorry about the horrible blowy noise, which I'm sure is happening. Nearly back in the village now. When we get to the village of Pirton, I've got a few matters to attend to there, then I shall head back to my car down at the starting point of this walk. I'll finish this video in the village of Pirton. Fairly shortly actually. It's been a lovely walk this morning. It's certainly clouded over now and got quite a bit cooler, but still quite a bit of warmth in the air, and it's still a lovely day for strolling about. This particular walk today, if you take it in the middle of winter, it can seem extraordinarily bleak walking across that valley there and through these footpaths round and through fields that can get extraordinarily muddy. So be prepared for that. It's nice. It's don't get me wrong. It's a lovely walk to take on a wet and windy day, if you've got the right gear on, of course. So we're just getting back to the village of Pirton now. This little bit of footpath here will take me up an alleyway and onto Shillington Road. A right turn will eventually get you back to the village of Shillington via the road. Not recommended to walk along, but you can. And here we are, back in the village of Pirton. Directly ahead of me is the Motte and Bailey, not the pub, that's over there through the trees. And there is a sign up here that gives you some details and the history of this Motte and Bailey. And as we walk through the gate here, we'll end up in the churchyard, pretty much in the centre of the village. And over to the right is the Berry. So that's the end of this walk. I'm going to attend to one or two matters here in Pirton and then head back to my car, which is a relatively uninteresting part of this walk. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, as I say, please click on the like button, press subscribe, and have a look at some of the others. I've got lots of videos of walks around this part of the country, other parts of the UK, Europe and further afield. There are hundreds of them on the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers for now. Bye bye.